Hi, you guys. Happy Sunday. I'm going to make a pecan pie today. And partly that's because just I had some pecans to get rid of and we've got lots of eggs and I have a pie crust in the fridge. And partly that's because, look, Fat Tuesday is almost upon us. This Tuesday is Mardi Gras. And what is, what do you know what Mardi Gras is, right? It's the night before Ash Wednesday. So we're getting rid of our sugar. We're not going to have any sugar. Hi, honey. Or at least I'm not. And so I'm just going to make this pie, and we're going to have a couple friends over tonight and have pancakes and champagne and bacon. But I'm also going to make this pie, and, for anybody who wants pie instead of pancakes. Pecan pie is very, very easy. And there are a lot of kind of like, oh, my mom makes the best pie, my grandma, whatever. And you look at the recipes, and the differences in them are minuscule. They're all about the same, and so I'm just kind of, this is a very standard recipe. So I didn't make a pie crust. What do you guys know about me? I probably could. I mean, I have made pie crust before, but I just didn't feel like it. So, and that's another thing, is I have these pie crusts in the fridge. So I'm using a regular pie pan instead of a deep dish one. And that's partly just because this is a really rich pie, and so you don't really need it to be terribly deep dish. And the other thing is I still have half of my cheeseburger pie in the fridge. So, in that, and I thought I had another one, but apparently I have quiche pans and stuff. Oh well. So, right, there's this. The other thing is, I'm just trying to decide. So yeah, I'll just go ahead and put this in the pan, and we can talk about the other things. And when you do these, you just you want to take it out of the fridge. They'll tell you what to do on the instructions. You want to take it out of the fridge in advance, and you just kind of roll it out, and then put it with the wrapper side down, and kind of take the wrapper off, so that you're not kind of messing with it too much. Because the more you mess with things like this, the more likely it is that you're going to tear it. And see, because I was holding it up and not paying attention and talking to you guys instead. It's a little slumped on one side, but that's okay. Being a little slumped looks homemade. Messy looks homemade, right? No, off. And the dog thinks that this looks very exciting too. So you just kind of press it down and try to get all the bubbles out of the bottom. No. I'm sure I've told you before that one of my friends listens to this on Alexa, and I just think it's so funny that I'm kind of when you're not watching it, you don't know that I'm talking to the dog necessarily, but I mean, she probably knows I'm talking to the dog. Anyway, so pie crust is here. I'm not going to put it on top of the stove because why? Well, because it's on. The oven is on. I have my oven on to 400. Now, a lot of these recipes, it's 350 for an hour or 350 for an hour and 10 minutes. I'm going to do 400 for 10 minutes, and then I'm going to drop it to 350 and cook it for 40. Okay, and why am I doing that? Well, it's just to kind of set it really fast. Okay. Now, the other thing that I'm not going to do, that's pretty traditional is I'm not using corn syrup, and the only reason for that is that I don't have any. What I have is this Lyle's Golden Syrup, which it's cane sugar, but it has that same viscosity, And what you want from the reason that you use corn syrup is because of the viscosity. But this must have something in it. Anyway, so the first thing I am going to do, I'm going to take my pecans. I have 1.5 cups of pecans. These are the pieces. Okay, and I'm going to put them in the bottom of the pie shell. And I'm just, got it there. I'm just going to kind of do this. You can use the halves, and the halves are pretty, but the halves are harder to cut through. And the way this works is we're going to do this, then we make our little kind of the liquid. I'm going to pour it on top, and the pecans kind of rise to the top. If you want more pecans, you can do 2. If you want less, you can do 1 cup. A 1.5 cups is kind of a sweet spot for me because it's not too dense, but it's not just pecans floating on top. I know we've all had that pecan pie, right? Okay, so I melted half a stick of butter here, 4 tablespoons, right? And I'm going to and I let it cool so that it's not hot. We don't want to curdle our eggs or whatever it's called. Not curdle. We don't want to cook them. And so I'm going to put that in this bowl. Ooh, I have 3 eggs, okay? And those are room temperature too, partly because I got on the phone and I started talking. That just, that happens. But it's okay to be room temperature with the eggs. It also kind of, it's good when things are kind of the same temperature and then they don't do weird reaction things. Okay, so I'm just going to fork whisk these, okay? And I'm going to rinse off my hand in just a second because those eggs kind of got me. Hold on. Okay. Now, another thing we're going to do a teaspoon of vanilla. Okay. And we're going to do a tablespoon of bourbon. Okay. And you don't have to use the bourbon. I think it adds a nice flavor. You could also use rum if you want. And let me just whisk that up. I am also going to add a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Okay. Now, something that I have done in the past, and you can think about, and I'm not going to do this time, but every now and then I'll add like a little 1/2 teaspoon of this stuff, this apple balsamic vinegar. It's really yummy. And it kind of almost gives a little bit of like a chess pie character to this. It counteracts the sweetness. You don't have to do that. But like, just think about this. The chess pie uses a tablespoon of vinegar, okay? And, I'm talking about like a 1/2 teaspoon or a teaspoon. And it's because that balsamic vinegar is so nice and thick and sugary. I'm just going to sit here pouring out syrup. You need a cup of syrup. Okay. And I should have, sometimes I oil my measuring cup so that it all comes out nicely. But you see, like, this stuff is pretty thick. It's as thick as corn syrup. So we'll see. This is a little bit of an experiment. You should be using corn syrup. But I know a lot of people don't like to use corn syrup, and I get it. It's kind of, it's like a weird, altered iteration. It's not like eating corn. They've done stuff to it. Okay. Now I'm just going to when you're doing something like this, you don't need to use a mixer. A mixer is for things that are hard to stir. See, we've got that nice kind of pecan pie color. Now, the other thing that we're going to do here, and I might get out a stiffer spoon for this, is we're going to put in a 1/2 cup of brown sugar. Now, when you are using brown sugar, remember you pack it. Remember? So, why is that? Well, because it's not a whole cup of sugar. It's got molasses in it. And, molasses is great. Molasses is good for you. It's very high in iron. And you can also just use a 1/2 cup of sugar and then add like a tablespoon of molasses if you want. Okay, there's my 1/2 cup of sugar in there. And my hands are sticky again. And we're just gonna, one thing you can do if you want to make sure that the sugar melts. I don't usually have a problem because this brown sugar is sort of, seems to be, maybe because the molasses has encapsulated the granules, it seems to break up a little faster than regular sugar. That's also why it gets hard as a rock. I was in there looking at my other one and it was like, well, this is irredeemable, this one. Okay, so there it is. You got that? Both the eggs and the syrup, we've got this nice viscous thing. And I am just going to take this, there we go, or pour this in. And, you know, oh, you can already see. You see the pecans are starting to rise, and they'll rise more when they bake, okay? And that's it. I'm gonna take my little spatula here and get the rest out. And, right, so this is gonna go in the oven for 10 minutes at 400, and then drop it down to 350, and then like 40 minutes, okay? So remember, it was half a stick of butter, half a cup of brown sugar, a cup of syrup, a quarter of a teaspoon of salt, a teaspoon of vanilla, a tablespoon of bourbon, and a cup of the syrup. Is that it? And 3 eggs. Okay. In she goes, and you know, that's it. That's happy Sunday. Maybe we'll make something fun for Fat Tuesday, but maybe not. I'm actually getting my house painted. This middle color is going to be in here, but I'm not doing the back room because I need to have the bathroom above it done. So since they're gonna have the ceiling and the walls out anyway, I figured I might as well not paint it. But everything else is getting painted this week. So we might not be doing much in the kitchen together. I might be ordering Chinese a lot or something. Okay, I will talk to you soon. Have a great weekend. Bye.